The most celebrated confession, that is the most significant and controversial early analysis of the causes of environmental crisis, coming 5 years after Carson had shown its enormity, was perhaps the historian Dean White Jr.'s now-classic, The Historical Roots of Our Ecological Crisis. Dean White attributes the crisis to the extreme anthropocentrism of Christianity. His position, of course, has been very controversial, and the debate continues to this day. Even though before Dean White, Henry Schneider in the 1950s in Myth and Text has already touched upon this issue. I quote from Schneider's point in the logic section of Myth and Text, one point. It is Richard the last decent carpentry than Jews have ever made. Unquote. It's a greater slur here, I'm sorry. It was White who had most thoroughly enunciated the anthropocentrism of Christianity as a source of current environmental ills. But I want to mention one counter-position, a position that has not often been made aware, is the Chinese geographer Duan Yufu. He's retired now. He's come very petite, small and short. Duan Yufu, in his essay, Discrepancies between environmental attitude and behavior, examples from Europe and China, argues against White's wholesale indictment of the Judeo-Christian tradition, citing an example of large-scale environmental devastation from ancient Greece and China. Now, one example that Duan Yufu cites really opened my eyes. I was shocked. He says, we talk about Chinese calligraphy and Chinese landscape painting. But he says, do you know that in order to produce the paper and the pen and the ink for the painting, how many mountains have been laid bare, cut? As Meishu said, 同山着着. He thinks the Chinese landscape painting so spiritual, so beautiful, so sublime, to the destruction of the environment. That was a real eye-opener to me. I was really shocked. But here's a good point. But Duan continues to say that environmental debasement has also been perpetrated by the early Greeks in the West. It's not just the Christian. And he cited very good examples, so I'll skip here. Now, this attempt to find a scapegoat, of course, is very controversial. Any attempt to point the finger point is bound to produce very strong reaction from the other party. You see. So the debate goes on. But this also points toward the direction of a new politics. And this new politics, as I said, is best exemplified in the promotion, in the rise of nature writing. Okay. The flourishing of nature writing, especially in America, is duly recognized by Robert Finch and John Elder, who edited the Northern Book of Natural Writing. They conclude their introduction with these words, quote, "All literature, by illuminating the full nature of human existence, asks a single question: how shall we live?" In our age, that question has taken its most urgent form in relation to the natural environment. Because it has never been more necessary, the voice of nature writing has never been stronger than it is today. So nature writing speaks loudly to a new ethic, to a new way of life. If it is necessity that has propelled nature writing into unprecedented prominence today, so prominent and vital as to become the mainstay of literature in a time, quote, when the natural context of fiction has been attenuated and when much literary theory discovered nothing to read but constructs of self-reflective language, end quote, then it is necessary for us to ask what lies behind that necessity. In the case of nature writing, the question, how shall we live, is predicated upon a, quote, necessity. The necessity to confront the consequences of how have we lived. For how we have lived has given us the culture that we have today. This culture, which in the eyes of Lin White is the cause of our crisis. So how do we live? And that reality is precisely the unavailability of reality, the adding of the real into the abstract and the virtual, the construct of self-reflective language. Thus, that necessity which nature writing is expected to serve becomes a call to re-sacralize and re-enchant and to give flesh and body to and life to a nature that has been declared so often dead. So we need, through nature writing, to reconstruct a new poetics, the poetics of the body, to kiss the earth again.